interview. It's the fifth episode of season 12 of This Week in Interview, and it's a pleasure, as usual, to spend the hour or so with you on This Week in Interview. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're having a good week so far. And I want to tell you, go ahead and share the live with anybody you think might benefit from listening to us and joining us tonight. As you know, 2022 is our year of empowerment. That's our theme on This Week in Interview. And tonight I have a very special installment in that whole pursuit of that whole theme. If you're listening to us in Dominica on our Jam DG Play channel 59, welcome. Call somebody and let them know that we're on so they too can listen. Those of you who might be listening to us on TDNradio.net, TDNTV.net, you might be on our Facebook Live. We're streaming live on Facebook, as well as we are on Instagram as well, and YouTube. But you can see us, those that don't have Facebook, for example, you can get us on TDNTV.net. Those of you who may be driving or otherwise not able to see us live, you get us on TDNradio.net. But welcome everyone, no matter how you're listening to us. I really appreciate you making the time on a Wednesday to spend an hour with me on This Week in Interview. As you know, my objective is to make you the most informed and educated audience on anywhere on social media or on media in general. Tonight's episode, we are going to talk with a certified life coach in the person of Mr. Michael. And I'm excited about that conversation because you know life coaches help us to find our power. So it fits right into that theme of empowerment. But as usual, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I am going to jump right in and do the CARICOM anthem. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to a very special and dedicated young lady. She's dedicated her whole career to helping folks, to deal with stuff. If you're in a rut, get out of a rut. If you're productive, you can get to the next level. All of those things we're going to be talking about tonight. So let's listen to Mikel do the CARICOM anthem, and we will be right back.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for CARICOM. The great and diverse be our ethnicities. The bonds that unite us are stronger than these. We dine, we pray, we love, we dance and we
and welcome to Set Yourself Free with Cleo. I am the founder and CEO of Set Yourself Free Life Coaching, and I wanted to create this podcast as a supplement to my life coaching business. So I originally am from the United States Virgin Islands, and I moved to the United States in my teenage years. I'm not going to tell you how old I was, because then you'll know how old I am now. But anyways, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I came up to the United States. I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in psychology and sociology. And then I used that degree to work in the field of substance abuse. And I've been doing that for the past 15 years. While on this journey, I met a lot of people that were going through, whether it was trauma, anxiety, depression, mental health issues that caused them to be stuck and led to their using substances to manage their issues. And it just, working in that field inspired me to want to work with other people that were also stuck in their lives and needed help to get unstuck, but in a less restrictive way. I too experienced some trauma that kept me stuck. So this topic is really important to me because I went through it myself. And I had to work through some steps in order to make myself become unstuck. And I believe the process that I took worked for me. And I'd like to share that process with you. And maybe it will work for you. I'm not saying this is the answer to all your problems, and it may not work. But if perhaps I help one person get through something, I know I'm on the right track, and that's my goal. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I had a miscarriage early on. And I also experienced a lot of what I deemed to be failures that kept me stuck. And while going through that process, I was very, I had a lot of negative self-talk. And that negative self-talk prevented me from moving forward. It kept me in a place of depression and sometimes anxiety. And so at one point in time, I realized that that way of living was not working for me, and I needed to take myself out of it. So I went through the steps of what I call the triple P's, which we will talk about along the ways in different episodes, and talk about how you can use the triple P, which are a positive mindset, perseverance, and having passion, and how those three things can help you go from being stuck to being unstuck. So I look forward to sharing all the information that I have learned along the ways with you. Please subscribe to this channel so that we can get this information out there. Once again, I look forward to speaking with you on Set Yourself Free with Cleo.
That was a better introduction than I would ever be able to do. So the only thing that's left for me to do is to ask you to join me in bidding a very warm TDN welcome to Ms. Cleo Michael. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was an awesome presentation. It shows your heart, it shows your passion, it shows your willingness to coming from a place of experience. I want to say good night to the folks who are joining on. We have some really regular listeners who are always here every week. I see Owen is here. I know Gigi is usually here, Sophie, and we have some new folks as well. So the new folks, I want to tell them, I hope you like what you hear tonight, so you will come back. We do this every Wednesday. And in the meantime, go ahead and share the link. We're about to have a very powerful, important conversation, and you don't know who needs to be hearing what we're going to be talking about. Just send them the link, call them, text them, let them know that we are on, that Cleo is on, and she's going to be giving us some really good tips and good hints. So as I was saying to you, you've already done the intro. You've said about your bachelor's in psychology and sociology. You are a certified addiction professional, and you're also a certified life coach. Your coaching business is called Set Yourself Free Life Coach, and from that base, from that platform, you're hoping to really help a lot of folks to really understand where they are and to work towards where they want to be. So my first question I'm going to ask you is, what does a life coach do for a person? Why would I want to, no matter what state I'm in, if I'm in a rut, if I'm doing well, if I'm not doing so well, what what is the use? What does a life coach do for a person?
Okay, well, thank you. A life coach really is a professional that helps someone who, as you say, could be in a rut. It could be they could be going through things in their relationships, in their career. They help them to set goals to help them to achieve their potential, whatever that means for them. So you kind of, it's not like therapy. We don't diagnose people and things of that nature, but we work together with a client in helping them to achieve and set goals for themselves so that they can feel fulfilled, and then hold them accountable so they can get there.
Oh, so great. I like that right off the bat you made the distinction that a life coach is not a therapist, so you don't diagnose. You don't diagnose. You help folks to get into their mind. Okay, so one of the things I was listening to something yesterday, and something that was said jumped out at me, and I was like, oh, I need to ask Theo about that some more. It says that every instance of unhappiness or discomfort comes from lack of power, lack of personal power, lack of empowerment. Um, First of all, do you agree with that statement? And how does a statement like that, how would that fit into like the work that you would do with someone? It says any state of unhappiness or discomfort you have in your life comes from you not having the power, from a lack of power. Is that something that you agree with, that resonated with me?
Um, I guess it would depend on how you look at it, and the circumstances what they are. Some of that could be true,
Mm-hmm.
where someone could be experiencing something such as self doubt, right? And self doubt can cause us to be unhappy in our lives. And if we stay stuck in that self doubt, we are in some ways restricting ourselves of the power to move forward or to empower ourselves. So I guess it's how you look at it that matters. When thinking about it, I don't think that everything in our lives that makes us unhappy stems from that, but I do think that there could be things that we could experience that can keep us stuck, and prevent us. And while being stuck, we have a pattern of thinking that somewhat enslaves us and take away our power. But I'm here to tell you that you can work through that and you can empower yourself and be happy.
Right. So actually, what you just said is sort of like how I interpreted it. That if you allow a circumstance to make you unhappy or make you uncomfortable, you are not you're at that time you're not exercising your power. And so all of us will go through that instance. But I guess as a life coach, your objective is probably to minimize the time that we spend in that spot where we can now regain our power to try to move forward. So is that so? So talk about talk to the folks, let's say, who right now,
Mhm.
let's imagine there's a young man or a young woman, or not just have to be a younger person, who it feels like um, they really don't have the resources, the personal resources, the support to deal with a situation that they're dealing with right now. And that person comes to you and they lay that at your feet and say, help me, help. How would a life coach, how would you approach that?
Typically when someone comes in, and they're struggling with something, the first step is to listen to them, right? Hear what they're saying, and then get them to explore, um, where did this issue come from? Where did it first start? And also, what are their goals? You want to see if they have the tools to work through that issue, because sometimes we have issues but we don't have the tools. So if you're coming to me, it's probably because you don't have the tools, and I really have to get a better understanding of where you're coming from in order to help you. So I start off with probing questions, asking them, um, where did the issue start, um, and how it's impacted their lives, and trying to find out, what have they been doing to address the situation? How have you been addressing it? What have you been doing? Because that's important as well. You have to know how they're dealing with it now, and then working with them to see, how can you help them move forward or work through that issue. So for that individual, you would say to them, I don't know, say maybe if they're working through some type of trauma, when did the trauma start, how it's impacted their lives, how have they been dealing with the trauma, have they been drinking, have they been avoiding it, have they been acting out. And once you know those things, then you can work with them to show them better ways of dealing with those issues.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned tools. Can you give some instances, some examples of what sort of tools you mean when you refer to that?
So a lot of times when going back to what we talked about one of your first questions to me, which is the lacking the power. Some of that power comes from the way that we think. So one tool that I am extremely passionate about, and you'll hear me talk about in my podcast, is the power of changing the way you think and positive thinking. Um, that is a huge tool to get anybody to not only empower themselves, but to move forward from a place of being stuck. You have to change your thinking. And the importance of that is because if we change our thinking, we're going to change the way that we feel. And if we change how we feel, then we're going to change how we act. So our thinking, our feelings, and our actions are directly related to each other. And so if we have positive thinking, we're going to feel positive and we're going to act in positive ways. If we have negative thinking, we have negative emotions, and that also allows us to act in negative ways. So I definitely, biggest thing for me is changing the way that you think so you can win.
Let's go down that path a little bit more because sometimes when you are in that situation and you feel like you you cannot see a way out, um, it's not easy to switch and to think positive. So how do you help somebody work their way to where they're just under a dark cloud to where they can start to raise their head um, in a positive way?
So you're right. It's not easy. It's something that you have to work on daily. Um, for yourself. It's almost like when we work in substance abuse, we tell our clients that, you have to think of staying clean for just this minute, just a second, just this hour. And that's the same thing with changing your thinking, especially for someone who's depressed. They must work on or repeatedly use positive thinking throughout the day. It's not something that you could do once, because your thoughts are going to show up. Your negative thoughts are going to show up. It's going to say, hey, you can't do this, or, maybe you're not worthy. And you have to, refute that every time it comes up. You cannot allow that tape to continuously play. You must continuously work at it. It takes a lot of hard work, but you can do it. You have to continuously work at, you know, stating or repeating those positive comments to yourself. And then you have to do things that's going to make you feel good about yourself. And in addition to that, you have to surround yourself with people that are going to support you and believe in you, because you can't do this all by yourself. You need people that are going to encourage you, who believe in you, and you have to engage in, activities that are going to make you feel good about you, and you must say positive things to yourself daily. So it
Right.
takes
So
work.
so so it's a
You got to put the
it's
work
a I
in.
was just going to say that it's a
You
work
got to put the
in
work
progress.
in. It's not going to work if you don't put the work in.
Right. And so your job as a coach, literally as a coach, is to help that person move along,
Right.
and to change that, and to get into that correct mindset. You also spoke about 3 P's. I think it was positive mindset, perseverance, and passion.
Hmm.
I want to give you the opportunity to expound on that a little bit.
Okay, so I believe, and I kind of sort of started talking about it. And first of all, you have to have passion, right? You have to, and passion is having like a burning desire. So you have to have that desire within yourself to want to change. Okay, so that's the first P, which is passion. And while having that passion, you have to be able to look at your situation and explore, how did I get here? What led me to this point in my life. I call it self-discovery. You can't be afraid to do the work. You have to look at, how did you get here, what's contributing to the problem, so that you can fix it. You've got to know what the problem is so you can fix it. The next one, as we talked about earlier, is having a positive mindset. You have to, your self-talk has to be positive. You have to work on it every day. We're going to experience moments of doubt, disappointment in life, but it's not staying stuck in that doubt and that disappointment, not staying stuck in that failure, or not staying stuck in, fear of even success. We can't allow those things to keep us stuck. So we have to think positive and repeat it continuously in order for a circumstance to change. And perseverance is exactly that. We have to persevere. Things are going to knock us down, but we have to believe that we can make it through, and we the problem in order to begin to fix it. And that's where the self-discovery comes in. And you can't be scared, and you must be honest with yourself. That's the first step, is being honest with yourself, so that you can truly see the whole picture of what the problem is, and then work through it by having a positive mindset and persevering, because things will happen in life, but you can't stay stuck when those things happen.
And so when you talk about positive mindset and thinking positive, um, which one comes first? Because if I'm not feeling positive, how am I talking about myself positively? Or should I go ahead, even if I'm not yet feeling it, start talking to myself like that, and that will bring the positive feeling? Or which
Yes.
one? Because
Yes,
go ahead.
absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes we don't feel positive, right? Even working with clients with substance abuse, when they come in, they don't always believe that they can be clean and sober, or that they can do it. And sometimes there's a phrase that we say, or it's said, fake it till you make it. And it just means that, you may not feel positive at that time, but you have to start somewhere. Otherwise, if you don't start, you're going to stay in the same situation. So you must start somewhere, and you may not believe it, but if you say it enough, you will eventually get the belief system going. Just like, our negative belief system didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's because we repeated these thoughts to ourselves, and then we acted in ways or situations happen that reinforce that belief system. It's the same. You're trying to unlearn that and undo that. And so you must start it. You may not believe it, but every day, if you continue to repeat it, your feelings will change. And that's, like I said earlier, how you think will drive how you feel. So once you keep working at it, eventually those feelings will change and the behavior will change along with it.
Right, because I wrote down here what you said, think, feel, and act. And I guess that reinforces itself, and it's like a rinse and repeat. Audience, if you join me late, I want to say welcome to you. But also, my guest tonight is Cleo Michael, and she is a certified life coach as well as a certified addiction professional. She's had 15 years of working with people who are dealing with substance abuse, and she recently started doing her own coaching, where she's calls it "Set Yourself Free" life coaching. It's in the middle of the show. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you live in Canada, the US, and the UK and are looking for Dominica products including cocoa sticks, bay rum, coffee, soaps, crafts, and other popular Dominica items, then look no further. You can now shop on BuyDominicaOnline.com, a secure, easy-to-navigate website selling a wide variety of Dominica-made and Dominica-inspired products. When you shop on BuyDominicaOnline.com, you are helping to grow Dominica's economy. Go to BuyDominicaOnline.com and enjoy home away from home.
I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
And welcome back to Set Yourself Free with Cleo. On this episode, we're going to talk about what it is to be stuck and what it is to be unstuck. So sit tight and buckle up for a really intense conversation. Stuck is sticking to thinking unlikely to create the knowledge for success and freedom. So you're thinking, what does that mean, Cleo? You said a whole lot of words, but what the heck does that mean? It is continuously playing in your conscious mind negative thinking that keeps you from progressing in your everyday life. Thinking that keeps you discouraged rather than inspired. It's thinking that keeps you in an unhealthy relationship, keeps you from achieving your personal goals, thinking that keeps you from working through grief, resentment, anxiety, and much, much more. When we are stuck, we are continuously playing thoughts in our minds that keeps us in the position that we're in. For example, someone who is in a relationship and their partner is not appreciating them. And so this individual will sit there and replay thoughts in their minds that I'm not worthy. I don't feel appreciated. I do all these acts of kindness for my partner, but they don't see me. And why does this continue to happen to me every single day? And instead of speaking up and having a voice and saying, hey, listen, I'm a person. Harriet! And I do not like the way that you are treating me using I statements. That's not being rude. That's not being disrespectful. That's just setting a boundary for how you need to be treated. And so how do I get myself out of this situation of being stuck? Because in this process, I am internalizing this, and now I am depressed, and now I'm having thoughts possibly of suicide, because that does happen. This is real. It's okay to talk about the process, because that's how the healing begins. And this is why Set Yourself Free is so focused on self-discovery and self-empowerment. And a lot of people are afraid to do the self-discovery part of the process because who wants to be honest with themselves and take a deep look inside and see that sometimes I'm in a situation because of me. It's easier for me to blame and point the finger outside of me than it is for me to look inward and take responsibility for the part that I played. So self-discovery is very, very important to getting unstuck. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that you have to bash yourself. It just means looking and making a thorough inventory of how did I arrive at this point that is keeping me in this situation. And once you've done that self-discovery, you have to transition over to self-empowerment. Self-empowerment is what you are saying or doing to make you feel good about yourself to help propel you forward into emotional and triumph in your life. That is what stuck looks like. It's continuously feeding yourself those negative thoughts of I am not worthy when your partner gives you the cold shoulder. He must not love me, or she must not love me because, or I'm not good enough. You know, internalizing and that those thoughts, and they keep playing over and over again. And how you think controls how you feel. So, what is unstuck? Unstuck is undoing negative thinking so that I can unlock courage and knowledge. This is the act of changing your negative self-talk. And in doing so, you will create a space that will give you the knowledge and courage to set yourself free. This process is done using the triple P's, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But the most important piece is changing your negative self-talk so that you can have the space for knowledge and courage. So when we're stuck, our thought process isn't one of courage, and it isn't one of freedom. It's one of self-doubt, being on, some of you might not agree with this, that pity party. So going from the thoughts of I am not worthy to the thoughts of I am worthy. And just like you play the tape continuously of being stuck, you have to play the tape of continuously being unstuck. I had the privilege of talking to someone recently who was going through really a similar situation of being stuck in an unhealthy relationship, and they were willing to share the process of what they were going through, but they were not willing to put in the effort to get unstuck. And if you, as much effort as you put in to the negative, in order to change it, you have to put more effort into changing that way of thinking. Nothing is going to change unless you are willing to do the work. And I have to do it every day. So that's why I can tell you what the process is like, because I do it every day. I don't wake up every day, yay, I'm happy, life is good, and I don't wake up as a cheerleader every day. But I work diligently at keeping that positive mindset. Like I said, the triple P, which is having passion, because you have to be passionate about wanting to change your life, or have a burning desire to change where you are in order for this process to even begin. The next P is having a positive mindset. And I will talk to you on every single episode of Set Yourself Free about having a positive mindset. Whether it's doing daily affirmations, whether it's engaging in activities that you enjoy, you have to do what you need to do.
I want to say a special good evening to those of you who are regular
last but not least is perseverance. And perseverance, as it relates to Set Yourself Free, is
and especially for those of you who are on the nature island of Dominica listening to us on RVR Jam,
and being knocked down,
play channel 59.
Experience the discouragement that comes with it, but not staying stuck in it and pushing through. So I hope that by watching this episode, you understood what it means to be stuck, what it means to be unstuck. Utilize, like I said, what I call the triple P's, which is a passion, a positive mindset, and perseverance in order for you to
is the question of water.
Set yourself free. Please,
water is
and
one of
subscribe to
the
my
essential
channel.
things
I look
in life.
forward to talking to you soon.
Maybe second. Air being in the first, oxygen.
All
air,
right.
And water being the second. And so
that was awesome. And so
on Monday, the 22nd of March is World Water
give you the
Day.
Opportunity
And
to tell
there's some folks in
listeners
Dominica who
where they can
really
find you,
care about
what are the different things you
water.
have going on,
And they're putting together a day
where
of
they can
activity.
get more of this good
And
stuff.
TDN Radio has
So
the privilege of
I
being
am
able to
on
participate with them in that. And so tonight I have two members of WAVE, Mr. Afi Mache and Mr. Darrell Phillips. And they will tell you what WAVE is, and they will go into more details as to what activities that they plan. So I'm not going to take a whole lot of time in the intro, except to say welcome again. And let's go to a quick break. We get Nicole Henderson singing the character anthem. And when we come back, we're going to have a very special conversation about water. What do you think about water? Is it an endless supply, as some of us think?
You can find me
do we have the opportunity to use technology to solve some of our water problems? What exactly should we be thinking when we think about water? So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Page on Facebook, and on Instagram I am at
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure,
oh yes,
some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride, sing it loud and strong, your heartbeat is one. Celebrating song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound of victory drum for Caracom.
And so she started her coaching business. I call it a business, but we provide that kind of service.
The bonds that unite us are strong your voice
a
is
young lady in Dominica
high. Sing of your Caribbean
living on the streets for a little while,
pride. Sing it loud and
and we saw
strong.
towards the end of the
Our
year
hearts beat as one.
there was a little bit of confusion.
Celebrating song.
I know part
Spirits to
of
heights
what
where
we
we belong. Sound of victory drum.
So how can you address that to somebody who may be feeling, that they're alone, or how do they go about identifying who's in their corner, sort of?
Well, finding a support system really is surrounding yourself with people that believe in you and encourages you. And sometimes for some people, they may not have that in family members, because especially with substance abuse, because they've burned so many bridges because of their use. Another way that if they're not able to find that in family is through friends that are positive, also having a higher power, a connection with God, some type of spirituality. There's another way for support. Of course, with being in substance abuse, if that person is suffering from that specifically, we point them in the direction of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, Methadone Anonymous. It just depends on, what that individual is interested in. But definitely, I would say friends, family, your connection with God, most importantly, because when you're dealing with something as serious as substance abuse, you can't do it alone. And you have to ask for help, most importantly. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. That's the first step. And sometimes, people are ashamed to ask their family members or friends or even let them in. And there's a stigma, right, with substance abuse. So people get looked at a certain way, but we have to talk about it. We have to educate people, and so that people can welcome people when they need help, and not look at them as less than, and be there for them. Sometimes, we just really have to rehumanize people and be around and support them and empathize with them, not sympathize, but empathize with them so we can help them through.
What's the difference between empathize and sympathize?
Well, empathy is where um, you're looking at the person and putting yourself in their shoes and their experiences and helping them from that point, versus sympathy where you kind of pity them and, that's not helpful. You want to kind of put yourself in their shoes to help them and say, I understand, or maybe I don't understand, but how can I help you? I see you're going through something difficult, versus, I feel sorry for you. Let me just, help this person without having any boundaries. People typically who have empathy has more boundaries, versus someone people tend to not do really well when they sympathize and they cross boundaries and create situations that can be harmful to the person that they're trying to help.
Right. And so in terms of that support system, I guess that is where a life coach like you would come in, because as you said, someone may not be comfortable turning to someone who knows them, a family or at work or whatever. And so a life coach is someone who would come in with fresh eyes and probably be more objective, right?
Right. Yes, absolutely. Some people may not want to go to family and friends, and they may need help elsewhere because they may want someone who they feel may not judge them. And so definitely you can seek out a life coach. You can seek out a therapist, even a pastor, just people that you feel comfortable going to for that type of help.
Right. And so the other thing is that somebody like you who is trained, there's the advantage of going to someone who's trained, because then that person has necessary skills and tools to help you, instead of maybe the family member you turn to might not be best, and they might exacerbate the situation, right? So maybe you can spend a couple minutes talking to those in the audience who may be in a situation where somebody comes to them in that kind of situation. How should they go about? I know it's more complicated than that, but what are some of the quick tips you can give them if they suspect that someone is reaching out to them for help?
Well, definitely if you're not trained and experienced in dealing with a certain situation, you don't want to try to get advice in that situation, because you could do more harm than good, especially with people who are have traumatic experiences and stuff like that. The best thing to do is really to listen. A lot of times, just listening to someone speak helps a lot. Also, you can refer them to professionals that can help them more deeply. But most importantly is knowing what you can do and what you can't do. Don't try, don't watch a TV show and then try to, hey, I'm going to go psychoanalyze you and try this. And no, leave that up to the professionals. But definitely what you can do is listen. It costs nothing. And people are appreciative of just having a listening ear. Sometimes it goes a long way. If I'm angry and upset about something, just having someone listen to me can help me even work through my own problems. I can find my own answers too in there, because really the truth of the matter is, whether you're a therapist or a life coach, we are not the instrument of change. It's our clients that are the instrument of change, and the answers to their problems is within them. We just help them to find the answers. So sometimes just listening helps them, so just be a listening ear and refer them, do some research and refer them, send them to me. um,
Definitely.
don't be judgmental, of course. A lot of times we can hurt people by being judgmental of them and their situation. So that's also important as well, kind of leaving our own judgment out of it and just providing that support of a listening ear.
Yeah, and I like that you say listen. And sometimes people listen and just wait for the opportunity to speak. So when you say listen, I want you to go a little bit more into that, because I guess all of us born with two ears, and because of that, we think we know what it means to listen,
Um,
and we take it for granted that we. So when you
well,
tell folks to listen to somebody when they come to you on that,
well, when it
go
comes
ahead.
to listening to people, um, part of listening and being a good listener is when someone is speaking, of course, letting them speak, but also asking for clarification. One thing that we normally do in coaching or counseling is we, repeat back what the person says so we understand what they're saying. So what I hear you say, for example, so what I hear you say is that you don't feel loved or you don't feel supported in your relationship, things of that nature. And then giving them the space to clarify what they mean, because we don't want to jump to conclusions about, what's going on with them. So a lot of times it's repeating back, even with regular communication, right? A lot of times we have communication issues in our relationships. And the best way to understand where the other person is coming from is kind of just restating what they said so that they can clarify and we can make sure we understand what is needed so we can help them and help ourselves as well.
Awesome. So nowadays, COVID taught us how we can do stuff without being in the same space. Of course, TDN Media has been at that for 12, even more than that, because this show is 12 years old, but TDN Radio has been on air maybe for 15 years. Where I'm in New York, my producer is in Texas, another announcer is in Canada, and so on. And so where I'm going with that is, if somebody wants your services, I know you're located in Florida. They don't necessarily have to come to Florida. You have the capability to help somebody, even if they're reaching out to you from New York or from Dominica, for example, right?
Yes, yes, I can. Like you said, technology has made it possible to where we don't have to necessarily be in front of each other for me to help you. I can communicate with anyone by Zoom, Google Duo, WhatsApp, by telephone. So virtual helps a lot with being able to communicate and help people. So you don't have to be here in
Right,
Florida. You can be anywhere.
you can be anywhere, and if you feel a connection to her, you should reach out. And I know we've been talking about folks who are stuck, folks who may be doing substance abuse, whatever. But in general, if we just feel like maybe we need a little boost, maybe if we have goals, we don't feel like we're approaching our goals good enough. Maybe we don't feel like we're making the optimal use of our time, whatever. A life coach is not only necessary to take you from a negative and turn you around to positive, right? You can actually be producing and still use a life coach, like I said, to go to the next level, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't you don't always have to come from a negative standpoint in order to need a life coach. You can be progressing in your life and just need, someone to help you with goals that you have, motivate you, and most importantly, hold you accountable, right? Sometimes we don't reach our goals because we're missing that accountability piece, right? And so a life coach really helps you with setting those goals and helping you work towards them and holding you accountable. If we're going to meet this goal, we got to make sure we put in the work to reach that goal, and so the life coach steps in and, kind of like think about it as like playing basketball, right? And you have a coach that teaches you how to play the game, right? They provide you with instructions or the skills that you need in order to shoot the basket. But if you're not out there practicing and shooting every day, you're not going to make the shot that's going to help you to win the game, So it's kind of the same thing, except it's not, in a game, but it's with your life, giving you the skills that you need and then holding you accountable so that you can win at whatever it is that you need.
Exactly. And I guess to use your basketball analogy, we can play basketball. We can go by the park and do a pickup game and whatever. Maybe we get onto the high school team just from pure talent. But I can guarantee you, if you don't have a coach, you wouldn't make it into college basketball. Right. And you certainly wouldn't make it into the NBA.
Right.
So I guess folks have to think about it in that way, that we need a coach to help us to bring out the best in us and
right.
And to make us do that what we need to do when we don't feel like doing it, to even point out to us where we have blind spots. And so right. Folks, that's why I want to encourage you to take tonight's program as not necessarily, of course, if you need the help because you're dealing with challenges, by all means, reach out to Cleo, or if you know somebody else who is a life coach, reach out to them. But even if in your mind you don't have an issue with substance abuse, or in your mind you get up and go to work every day, you're functioning normally, quote unquote normally, your desire to get to the next level, your desire to see because you are so close to yourself, you may not be seeing your blind spots. And so I think it's worth it to book one session with somebody like Cleo and get yourself thinking about yourself in that kind of a way. And that would be your way of empowering yourself and ensuring that you're protecting that power. So we're flat out at the end of the hour. So I'm going to give you a chance to one more time repeat to folks where they can find your work, how they can contact you, and just some closing remarks about the whole question of um, having a life coach in your corner to help you live your best life.
Okay, so you can find me at www.coachingwithcleo.com. You can book a session on that page as well. My phone number is 904-703-0655, and you can text that number to join our Zoom link. I'll provide you with the link so you can join on Sundays. We try to motivate and inspire people on Sundays. Also, you can check me out on YouTube. Set Yourself Free is the YouTube channel. And then on Facebook, we're at Set Yourself Free Coaching. That's my page. And on Instagram, it's set_yourself_free_LLC. And in closing, I'd like to say, the power of positive thinking can truly change your life. What we say to ourselves has an impact. So if we want to be successful and fulfilled, we must make sure that we have positive thinking and also engage in activities that's going to make us feel good about ourselves. And it could be just activities that you enjoy or just trying something new. Can help you as well. So, remember, change the way you think so you can change the way you feel so that you can change the way that you act and you can have a very fulfilled life.
Awesome. There's nothing more to say than that, except to say I encourage everybody as you try to move forward. And I know we have a goal of empowering folks, helping them, those who have their businesses, to really take their business to the next level, to help get established. A life coach can really help you be able to get that work-life balance where you try to juggle 2 or 3 or 4 things. You have your family, you have a social life, now you have a business, you have a career. To really think about how you think, because they said the most valuable thing that you have is your thoughts, or are your thoughts. And so if you make sure that you can optimize your thoughts, an optimal life is not far behind. So get a life coach and reach out to Cleo. And on that note, I want to tell you thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed the conversation. From the comments, the audience also felt that it was timely. I am sure I want you to come back
Okay.
because as on this empowerment theme, and I see you also talk about empowerment strongly as well. And so I really want to say thank you. Thank you, listeners, for joining in on episode 5 of season 12, This Week in Interview. Thank you to the staff at TDN for making all of this possible. And we will see you again next week, Wednesday. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cleo.